Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, your favorite sports podcast where two sports lovers sit and give their hot takes.
Off the Dome.
I am Redfish.
And I am
Cracking
Mustang.
a cold one with the boys. And we are missing Rebo Hustle tonight. He decided to dress like a monkey in a suit and dipped on us. However, we are still here. We are still having fun. And we are still off the dome. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, follow us on Twitter.
Or X.
Artist formerly known as Twitter. Off the _dome pod. That's where we post all of our information when we're going live. Some stuff throughout the week, just, keeping updated on the news. Some clips from the show from the previous week. You can also hit us up on Facebook. And, of course, follow the boys at The Know, KNEAUX. The only way to spell it. Shout out to the boys at The Know, at Be In The Know, on the artist formerly known as Twitter. Thank you very much for following along. Don't forget, you can always watch live on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. or you can go back and listen to us on the Spotify.
The Spotify,
indeed. Last week we talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Probably going to be similar this week.
Yeah.
Different roles, though.
Different roles, for sure. So last time we started off with the good. Let's do that again.
Yeah, why not?
Saturday night in Death Valley. Soon the sun will reach the western sky, and it'll be Saturday night in Death Valley. That's what they say. And it was an exciting one, to say the least, in Tiger Stadium. LSU pulls out the win, 52-35, I believe was the final score.
Beat the spread.
And boy, oh boy.
About half a point.
Jaden Daniels. What a night.
Yeah. Impeccable. I mean...
Impeccable indeed.
It's kind of like and I told you so, but he's finally getting the recognition he deserves for Heisman.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why it took this long.
Ridiculous.
The most prolific college offense we may ever see, and he's at the helm.
You want to know the best offense is this one? 2019 LSU. And even this one's arguably better.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the points and the point differentials.
Yeah, I mean, I love our 2019 team. Undefeated, won the national championship, but I don't remember beating anybody 62-0.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for our defense being historically bad.
Yeah, I was about to say, the only outlier between this team and 2019 is the defense.
Yeah, that defense wasn't great, but it was sustainable. This one, absolutely unsustainable. But Jaden Daniels, final stat line, 606 total yards of offense, 6 total touchdowns, 372 through the air, 234 on the ground.
Are you not entertained?
Exactly. Dude was running like crazy, which we know he can do. And, I mean, when your quarterback's the fastest person on the field, that's a great look for your offense. But not only that, he could pass the ball, too. That's the thing about Jaden Daniels. Everybody's like, yeah, he's this dynamic athlete. He's great at running the ball, but he's improved so much as a passer that he is a threat no matter what he's doing at the quarterback position.
In just less than a year, we saw a complete 360 from not only his ability to run the ball, which has improved greatly, but his ability to stay in the pocket, stay composed, and go through his progressions.
Yeah, he's truly improving as a pocket passer as well as an improviser and a scrambler. He is doing everything he needs to do for us to win games. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, depending on what the defense offers us.
Right.
Defense wasn't great in this one. You really shouldn't let up 35 points to that Florida offense, in my opinion. However, we come out with the win. That's what's important. Beat them by 17, SEC game, always a fun atmosphere, and we hate Florida, so it feels good to beat them.
Yeah, we do hate Florida.
It feels good to beat the Gators.
We hit a lot of SEC teams.
Very true.
Notably.
Bama and Florida. And A&M. Say it.
Say what?
Gotta love it.
Can't legally.
Shout out the sound man in the chat. Heisman odds. He is currently tied at second. I'm assuming that's what Michael Penix. And then Bo Nix is the favorite at plus 100 for Heisman odds.
I believe Marvin Harrison Jr.'s right after them.
Yeah, I think that is the top four: Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Daniels, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Usually you would think that a guy who's leading an undefeated team like Carson Beck, who is the Georgia quarterback, he would be the favorite. He's not that good.
He stinks.
J.J. McCarthy. Fun fact, Jaden Daniels rushed for more in one play than J.J. McCarthy threw for an entire 4 quarters. He had 60 passing yards in an entire game. But that's people's Heisman candidate.
Wrong.
No thanks. I'll pass. JD5 is making his way up the boards, and he should be. He's playing phenomenal football right now. A week after getting the crown of the helmet directly to the chin on what should have been a targeting call, and he comes out there after passing concussion protocol and then has the best game for a college quarterback of all time. Only one of its existence. Like, no quarterback has ever had 350 through the air and 200 rushing in the same game, and Jaden Daniels had 370 and 230. So we have to give him his flowers. Too bad Rebo's not here to try to bring us down, because that's what he always does. Loves to be his little Debbie Downer, negative Nancy, other negative words that have the same first letter as another name after it. But unfortunately, he's not here to talk about how much he hates Jaden Daniels, so we will
he's not here.
Yeah, we will only talk good about him on this episode of Off the Dome. So we go ahead beating Florida this week. We got Georgia State coming into town.
Yeah.
This better be another Army game.
Correct.
Now, I do remember earlier in the season, Georgia State was a pretty good football team.
Yeah, they made a little ruckus.
I think they were undefeated through the first 5 or 6 weeks. They're now 6-4. They've lost their last 3 to Georgia Southern, James Madison, App State. All of those ending with the other team scoring 40 or plus. And
so LSU might score 80.
LSU is going to score at least 50. At least. I don't expect Jaden to play the fourth quarter. I expect it to be one of those games where
either.
Yeah, well, it depends. You never know. Depends how that defense is doing. If we have another Grambling situation where they stick around for a whole quarter. But, I don't expect this game to be much of a look into it type of game. You never want to blind yourself from an opponent.
Right,
but
any given Saturday, just like any given Sunday.
Yep.
However, I do kind of think that this could be a good, warm-up type game. Looking forward to the week after. Just a few days after Thanksgiving. Happy holidays, everybody. It's right around the corner.
Oh, can't wait. I love Thanksgiving.
But yeah, the notable last game of the season.
Every year.
LSU versus A&M.
Always a hard-fought battle.
Ends in a weird way.
And you know what? I think, I can't be sure of this, but other than the Natty year, I feel like every year the team who's supposed to win loses.
Right.
Every single season it feels that way. So that scares me this year. A&M did fire Jimbo Fisher, so they'll be looking for a new head coach.
Yeah, and then they beat Mississippi State by 40.
Yeah, and they fired... Well, rumor on that is that the reason they fired Jimbo when they did is because if they fired him after the season and they just so happen to win their last 2, they would have the same record they did for the past 3 seasons. So then it's hard to justify firing him. So they got rid of him while they could.
Yeah.
But also $76 million to go home. He'll find another job somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously, if you're making it even halfway successful in the SEC, you're a good coach.
Yeah, he's going to find another job somewhere. He just didn't have it at A&M. A&M's going to be the premier job to have this offseason. So it'll be interesting to see who they sign. If they do like an LSU did with Brian Kelly and sign away a guy who's been at his school for a really long time, and somebody who they don't expect to move. Do they get somebody who's maybe up and coming? I've heard a lot about them stealing Washington's coach, because at A&M you're going to get better recruits. It's in the SEC, so you're going to get more national recognition. You got that oil money, so you're going to get all the money you need. So I've heard a lot about them stealing Washington's coach. I wouldn't necessarily put my money on it, but we'll see where that goes. As far as who I want A&M to get, it's a guy I hope gets fired this offseason, and that's Dennis Allen. He went to A&M.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe.
Welcome home, maybe? No, I mean...
No, Tannehill will retire and go to
Yeah.
A&M.
Head coach Ryan Tannehill. But no, moving on from the Tigers, I'm not even going to give a score prediction on them because it's going to be a 40-plus point win.
Yeah, 63-7.
Sure. You know what? I'll go 56-2. They'll get a safety. But no, moving on from the good, which was the LSU Tigers, to the bad, which was the New Orleans Saints. Man, it's tough to watch them at this point.
You never know what you're going to get.
The Saints truly are a box of chocolates. But somehow all of the chocolates are just poop.
Are just getting arrested in Kenner.
Yeah, that's, so Michael Thomas in a legal situation, Chris Olave in a legal situation. One thing before we talk about this game, let's talk about Derek Carr and how he forces receivers to get arrested. Antonio Brown, Henry Ruggs, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, all arrested while playing with Derek Carr.
Under Carr, yeah.
That is an all-star lineup of receivers that would dominate in the longest yard.
Very true.
Anyway, moving on to the game. Played the Minnesota Vikings. We made Josh Dobbs look like the pastronaut as he has the past few weeks, running all over the place, passing all over the place, and still no hair. It
was another one of those games that we've seen where one half of our team shows out for a half and then disappears.
And then the other half of the team gets better, but not better enough. It's an every week recipe of the Saints. It's one half starts off slow while the other side of the ball is like, dude, figure it out. And then they switch jerseys at halftime. Like, it makes no sense to me what's going on.
Very aggravating to watch.
Down 24-3 at halftime. TJ Hawkinson was looking like prime Tony Gonzalez out there. Had like 11 catches on 15 targets for 150 yards and a touchdown. Like,
insane.
Ridiculous game out of the tight end, TJ. And it seemed like there was nothing we could do about it. Our defense got off to a very slow start, picked it up after.
Yeah, only allowed 3 points
Only
in the
allowed
second
3
half.
points in the second half. And, we had a QB change as well. Like Soundman's mentioning in the chat here, 64 yards at half from Derek Carr. When you have Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara out the backfield,
Taysom
Hill,
has been lethal.
Jawan Johnson, even Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller. When you have names like that, how do you have 64 passing yards and a half? It's an interesting concept.
Something's
to me.
not adding up.
I love, like, in the offseason, I was like, yes, Derek Carr's, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a generational talent, but he's a big improvement on what we had.
Exactly.
And it just doesn't feel that way right now.
Yeah. It's quite disappointing because, like you said, a lot of us were looking up towards this season. And, granted, I don't think it's just on Derek Carr. We've been talking about... What's up, Gary? Nice of you to tune in to us. Gary, thank you again. He came over for our turnaround from a different site or a different unit on site. He came help us out.
Shout out, Gary.
Appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, like I was saying, we've talked about it time and time again about the coaching staff and the situation that they just don't look like they're meshing. Like, even between Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael, they just don't look like they agree on anything.
This team feels like a bunch of stuff thrown together that they hoped would work.
Yeah.
And it's just not.
Yeah. It looks like they went out and got the players they needed to succeed, but then never decided to draw up a play.
It feels like in 2K when you make a bunch of trades and you get all the talent you think you need and you build this roster that looks good on paper, but you forgot to turn off team chemistry, so you just lose a bunch of games because you have like 13% on there. Like, that's exactly what this feels like. And it's hard to sit here and blame one person, but we can blame everybody.
Yeah.
Derek Carr had 64 passing yards at half. That's a problem. O-line can't stay healthy. That's a problem. Dennis Allen can't coach. Problem. Pete Carmichael.
He doesn't deserve his real name.
Yeah, Pete Carmichael can't call plays. Problem.
A lot of problems.
Wide receivers getting arrested. Problem. I mean, what are we doing? Defense not being able to stop a running quarterback. Problem.
That's been a problem for years.
That's been a problem for a really long time. Even when we've had like top 10 defenses, their one kryptonite was always the running quarterback, and Josh Dobbs showed that on Sunday. We did get to witness the Jameis Winston experience
in all of its
and
somewhat glory.
Every piece of Jameis Winston that you could ever imagine showed up in that game. I mean, we saw two beautiful. We saw two touchdowns.
One of them beautiful.
One of them was a beautiful catch by Chris Olave. The other one was a
literally
13-yard pass that went 49 yards through the air.
And it was literally just a jump ball. Like,
oh, I don't know what, dude. He saw that guy in the end zone, and he was like, oh, I gotta throw this ball. And then the safety was like, no, you don't. Luckily, A.T. Perry made a fantastic
shout
catch.
out to my off-season prediction that's not quite turning out. But A.T. Perry did get his first touchdown catch.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out.
A.T. Perry had a beautiful catch in the end zone. Chris Olave had a touchdown. I mean, Chris Olave had more receiving yards than Derek Carr threw for with just Jameis Winston. So that's an interesting stat for you. But we also got the Tampa Bay version of Jameis Winston, who threw 2 picks back-to-back drives, had a third one that got dropped.
Yeah.
And
with the game on the line.
Yeah, 2 drives in a row, fourth quarter, both under, I think, 6 minutes. And he throws 2 picks. Like, dude, what are we doing, Jameis?
That's just, that's Jameis Winston. That's his game. He's going to throw the ball.
But you know what? We also scored 16 more points with him than we did with Derek Carr. So at this point, who even knows what's going on with this team?
Nobody.
I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on with the New Orleans Saints. I simply do not. All I know is that something needs to change. It's frustrating to watch. We are sitting at 5-5, so we're at 500.
Hey, we're in first still.
Yeah, still in first technically. Not a good look. We're going to a bye week. After the bye week, we'll be playing our most hated rival in the Atlanta Falcons, who I believe are second in the division.
They are third.
Third?
Yep. Tampa Bay
had a bye week already, so they're 4-5. Atlanta's 4-6. Mm-hmm. You are correct.
And then there's
the lowly Panthers,
1-8.
Can't have it all. But he
ain't got eyebrows.
He don't. He really don't have eyebrows, and yet he could see perfectly fine over our defenders. It's an interesting situation we've got in New Orleans, and I'm not super excited about what we've got going on, but we've got to be fans anyway. I'm gonna stick with them through the end. My greatest fear for this season is that we make the playoffs because we win the division and nothing changes because we make the playoffs. So for me, that's like my worst case scenario is making the playoffs as a 4 seed because we win the division at 8 and 9. Like that's a bad look for the team because you're going to have this mindset where, oh, we made the playoffs, but also you're going to get beat by 20 in the first round at home. And then you're going to be like, oh, we made the playoffs. We can't fire our coach. And we're just going to repeat the same cycle next season, which breaks my heart.
Yeah, I mean, not what you want to see as a Saints fan. But as of now, it could end up like that. And don't get me wrong, I love winning the division.
Yeah.
But not like this.
It'll look great on paper if we see a division title, but it won't look great when we ultimately lose.
Yeah.
So this team has to step up. Hopefully this bye week does us good because we did have a lot of injuries as well. Michael Thomas went down. Marshawn Lattimore went down. Derek Carr did go down. Like, this game seemed to be just bad off from the start. Nothing was going our way. Hopefully this bye week can get people healthy. And
especially that O-line.
And, yeah, definitely. And then get people in the building and understanding where we're at as a team and what we need to work on to get better. That is my hope for the bye week. We will talk about the Atlanta Falcons matchup, of course, next week whenever that game is coming up. Don't want to talk about it now because we have too much time until then.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
As for now, score prediction, I'll go Saints 3, bye week 14.
We're going to lose the bye week. I think it'll be a little bit closer. It'll be decided within a Blake Groupie field goal. So I'll go.
That he will inevitably miss.
I will go by week 9, Saints 12. It'll be a full out field goal battle, just like we saw with the Raiders and the Jets on Sunday night.
Yeah, we even saw Jets tight end play defense against his own receiver.
Yeah, we did.
On the final play of the game.
Tyler Conklin, the Conk, one of your favorite players of all time.
Okay, sure.
You love him. Don't act like you don't.
Okay, we'll stick with it. We'll
he went up one-handed when Garrett Wilson was right there with the, like he was like 9 feet in the air. It looked like he was floating, and then Conk was like, nah. Nah, we good. We good. I don't want to win this game. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to come back if we win. Which he's eyeing a mid-December return,
which
off
is
a torn
crazy.
Achilles. If that man comes back in like week 14, week 15, after tearing his Achilles on the 9th snap of the game, wow,
superhuman.
Ayahuasca does it for you, I guess.
Comeback player of the season in the same season that he went out.
Hey, you know what they say.
Words usually.
Darn right. Man, what are we talking about?
No clue.
This has been an interesting. We don't have Rebo here, so we don't have anybody to make fun of. We're just like agreeing on this stuff.
Yeah.
This is weird. We need Rebo back for good somebody to yell
we need
at.
to take this chance to just talk about the Dolphins.
Oh, we do, huh? That would be funny. We'll talk about the Dolphins a little bit later.
They got some things going on.
Well, I got some things going on with the Dolphins.
Oh.
Hello.
Right.
Don't talk about it yet. Byron has not seen the news. So we will ignore that for now. But we will talk about it. This is going to be a shorter pod episode, just because Saints are going on bye week, so it's hard to talk about that. LSU's playing Georgia State. Rebo's not here to rant about the Pelicans. We will mention them now, though. They suck.
Yep, we get to the ugly and the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, this is the ugly. The ugliest part about it is the injury report. Larry Nance, I think he has a cracked rib, if I remember correctly. Herb Jones has been out the past few games. Zion has a wrap on his thumb. Let's see. Trey is still out. Jose is still out. Najee made his return, so there's that. CJ still out. Lung issue.
Punctured.
I mean, it's just not good. It's simply not good right now.
No.
Very bad outlook for the boys. However, you can always find something good in the bad. That good is tonight they are playing right now.
They are.
And
they're winning.
They are winning. 14-11. Herb Jones did make his return. He is somehow leading us in scoring.
Yikes.
I'm thinking the same thing. Trying to figure out how Herb Jones is leading us in scoring. What a catfish. But there's also some other good. Jordan Hawkins.
Good.
Most three-pointers made through the first 10 games of a career.
Yeah.
Jordan Hawkins, great player.
Hawkeye.
Did I call it?
Archery.
I did. Love the archery. I did call Jordan Hawkins. Reese gave me flowers on that. So to get flowers from the basketball guy who normally hates everything I say, felt pretty good. So, the Pelicans got to figure it out too. They're kind of like the Saints, where it's just like, dude, I don't even want to watch you anymore because you're just not fun. Like last year, the Pelicans, even when we lost, it was fun to watch. At this point, it's not even fun to watch.
We had Jose.
Yeah.
And Jose is fun.
And so is Tramer. And they're both out. Can't have it.
No.
Can't have it. Injury report is
our nemesis.
Yeah, it's not good. Hopefully we can bounce back soon. I mean, we can keep on repeating, when we get healthy. And I've been the biggest I've been the biggest supporter of that theory. I'm the one who's been pushing it out there every single Tuesday night.
Yeah, and
but
it's so tough because we know what they're capable of.
Yeah. But also it gets to a point where like you can keep saying the same thing over and over, but if it never happens, there's no point in talking about it.
Yeah, insanity.
We've been winless over the past like 5 games, I think. I think we've lost 5 in a row. So like you can keep talking about health, but somebody has to step up. And there's been a lot of trade rumors going around. Press conference Zion had, he was like, I'm finding it hard to buy in right now. When a generational talent who you spent the number 1 pick on just 4 years ago is saying it's hard to buy in right now, not a good look for your team. I'll tell you that much. So trade rumors are swirling about with Zion. There's some certain advanced statistics that are coming out that makes Brandon Ingram look not so great, putting him in a bad light with plus-minus scores and defensive ratings, and it makes Brandon Ingram look like he's a selfish, offensive-minded player, which I don't believe that to be true in my heart of hearts because I love Brandon Ingram, but that could be bias and just not recognizing the problem. But everything just feels like it's not going right for the Pels so far.
Yeah.
The only thing that we do have to mention that I know Rebo would be raving over if he were here is Willie Green's missing the game tonight, so James Borrego took over as head coach for the night. So that could be a reason we're winning because Rebo thinks James Borrego is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So we will acknowledge James Borrego is our head coach tonight, and we're winning. So that's an interesting little fact.
Herb Jones is scoring. So
Herb Jones is scoring.
I don't think that has a lot to do with James Borrego.
It might.
But it could.
It could. Reese would explain it in basketball terms about like cutting in off-ball screens and doing triangle offense and player stuff, but I don't have it in me. It's not a great time to be a Louisiana sports fan unless you're like a Tulane fan, then you're having fun.
Yeah,
because they keep winning.
Tulane's rocking.
In fact, Michael Pratt, shout out to Michael Pratt, also announced as a finalist for the Davey O'Brien, just like Jaden Daniels. So 2 Louisiana quarterbacks up for the same award, quarterback of the year. So great look for him. Great look for there's a few of the boys at the Know who are big Tulane fans, so happy for them.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me, personally. But, yeah. Good, bad, ugly covered. Let's move into something I actually did pretty well on.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, please. Of course. Rebo's not here to hand it to me, even though he had it last week, and he lost. So I am now the Rhythm and Blues betting champion.
Even if he won, it would have been vacated.
He wasn't here to fight for it. So it would have went vacant, and then second place would have taken it, which still would have been me. But I went 3 for 4 in my parlay. Not bad. Best I've done in a long time. I've been on the opposite of a heater, a cooler. Some would say,
ice chest.
An ice chest. So I ended up going 3 for 4. My bets were Cardinals plus 1.5 and the under 43, and then the Lions minus 2.5 and the over 45. That one hit. The Lions and the over hit. I think like 77 points got scored in that game or something. Very high scoring affair. So that was a fun matchup between the Lions and the Chargers. And then the bet did hit. I bet minus 2.5. They won by 3. So that worked out perfectly for me. And then Cardinals covered my spread because they ended up winning the game. However, I was wrong about the over-under. I said under 43. I think the final score was like, the final total was like 47, 48. Like it was right above it.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. Shout out Lil Wayne. But I ended up going 3 for 4, so I ended up winning that one. How'd your parlay go, man?
Not great. Went 1 for 4. Ravens lost, which was not expected.
Shocking. I mean, they were up early. Like early in the game, I think they went up like 17-3 or something.
Yeah.
Like
it was looking good.
It was looking great.
I did hit on the Lions. I also took them minus 2.5.
Yeah, you did.
Missed on the Falcons minus 1.5. Was a close game, so not really too upset about that one. But Giants plus 16.5. Giants suck.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They're very bad. I mean, Danny DeVito is their starting quarterback, and he still lives with his parents. So there's no winning in that matchup. Cowboys absolutely obliterated them. It was quite embarrassing if you were a Giants fan, which thankfully I am not.
Yeah. Moving on.
Should we mention somebody who did hit their bets though?
Oh yeah. We can talk about how Soundman won like $800
again. I have 3 of his bets here, and I'll mention all of them, and of course they all hit because he's him. I'll mention this one last actually because it's the most absurd. So firstly, Sunday Night Football, Raiders in the under. Raiders money line under 35.5. That hit. The final score ended up being a 28 total point with the Raiders winning, so he hits that. He then hit Broncos plus 7.5 and under 47.5 last night. So again, hits on a night game. Money line over under. Soundman special. Sometimes he'll throw the spread in there if he's feeling frisky. But then this bet. This one really got under my skin. 3-leg parlay. Offensive touchdown, Cincinnati outcome of first drive. Offensive touchdown, San Francisco outcome of first drive. Offensive touchdown, Baltimore outcome of first drive. How did all three of those hit? And he parlayed them on a bonus bet.
I missed that one.
A bonus bet. He parlays those 3 legs to get odds of plus 4240.
He's never bet something that high.
The most he's ever had is 265 because it's always 264, and he got plus 001 one time. And then this time he gets over 4,000 odds, and he nails it. And he hasn't given me a single penny, which I think is messed up. If it weren't for me, nothing would change in his life, but I still deserve a couple dollars. But no, Soundman's a great bettor, so maybe he'll drop some knowledge on us before we
listen to him
finish our bets. Rebo Hustle did not give us his bet for this weekend because, again,
he's a BMC.
Monkey in a suit. He's a what?
BMC. Bitch made cat.
Oh.
On the record.
Bleep that one out.
No.
Editor that we don't have because we don't edit these videos.
Editor.
Oh, Joe, thanks. But no, let's go ahead and move into our bets for this weekend.
I'm feeling good. We're all going to hit.
Since I won, I will choose to go second.
Okay.
So, please.
All right.
Do me the favor.
So, as y'all have maybe noticed, I've kind of been going either like a 4-leg NFL parlay or a 4-leg college football parlay. It's been hit or miss. You know, I've looked pretty good in some, maybe missed like 1 or 2 legs. Even, straight up just hit one. But I'm going to change it up.
Supposedly hit it. We don't know for sure.
I have the receipts.
No, he doesn't.
But anyway, we're going to change it up. We'll go 2 for college, 2 for the NFL.
Okay, here we go.
Start off with college because it comes first.
It technically, yeah.
Utah versus Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Utah's ranked 16. Arizona's ranked 19.
Close matchup.
Yeah.
Pac-12 matchup.
Pac-12 defense optional in that conference.
Always.
As we've seen. So I went with Utah's spread, which was -1.5. I do think they'll win by probably a little more than that. We've seen them be extremely prolific, but we've also seen them not be.
Yeah. I mean, they lost a game. I don't remember if it was Oregon, maybe, that they just got blown
Yeah, they
out.
got blown out by Oregon.
And then this past week against Washington, they're up 28-24 at halftime, and then just can't score in the second half. And then they beat USC.
Yeah.
So we've seen them do everything. We've seen them lose big, win big, and then kind of stay right in the middle. So I think Utah at 16 is about a properly ranked team, though. I think that's about where they are.
Yeah, I agree. I do expect them to have a big game this week. They've kind of got things haven't been clicking like they want them to. I think they'll find it this game, even though it's a little too late. But I took Utah -1.5 and the over, which was only at 44.5 for a Pac-12 game. Seems like free money to me.
I like it. I do like that.
Thank you.
As someone with the championship, you should like that. I like it. Just saying.
Moving on, we'll go switch back over to the NFL. We have the Los Angeles Chargers playing in Lambeau -3. Not 3.5, not 2.5, 3.
Always good that you could get a push.
Agreed. And then lastly, we have the Philadelphia Eagles playing in Arrowhead against the Chiefs at +2.5. I think the Eagles can win this game. I think they should win this game.
Yeah.
This isn't the Chiefs we're used to seeing. I mean, granted, you can never count out Mahomes. We've learned that by counting out Mahomes.
Correct.
But I think this might be like a little revenge game from the Super Bowl. Might get a little chippy.
Yeah.
Might see a...
It's Monday night, right? It's a Monday night game, I think.
Yep, Monday night.
That's a beautiful primetime game.
I agree.
Monday night Super Bowl rematch in Arrowhead. That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, looking forward to watching that one actually.
Yeah. So what's the odds on that parlay?
Combine those for plus 1131.
Okay,
That's
some odds.
1131.
That is some odds. I'll go ahead and move into mine, and then Soundman did send his, so we'll talk about his as well. So mine, I went with the same idea I did last week since it worked 3 for 4 for me. I'll go on this one again, and I'll try my hand at it. I agree with your Chargers -3 on that. The Steelers just beat the Packers, and while I would love to talk bad about the Steelers, they've got a really good record.
Yeah,
They're not impressive. Fun fact, they're the only team in NFL history through 10 weeks to never out yardage an opponent and still be over 500. How do they have that many wins and never gain more yards than the opponent? Don't know. Defensive touchdowns, probably a reason.
Yeah, I think they've had like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean they're winning games. But we know the Packers are vulnerable. They're not a fantastic football team. Although they did beat the Saints, that's not saying much this season. The Chargers played a nail biter against the Lions, who, as you know, I have them going to the Super Bowl. So we know how I feel about my Detroit Lions. But the Chargers played them close. And if the Chargers only lose by 3 to the Lions, I think they'll